Shut up and sit down.
By all means, go for it. Have fun. Just leave me alone.
People are coming together more and more and more and more as the government has been failing us more and more.
I'm against being shitty to people.
You can't research your way into understanding somebody.
One way or another, I'd rather have the fight now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fight for Liberty Live. Today's episode has been quite a few weeks in the making. I'm excited to bring it to you guys. But first, I'm going to tell you guys again, as always, a little bit about what we're doing over at Nug of Knowledge, because they're an awesome group of people that are selling wine, and you should go buy some of them. And you get to support people in the movement like myself, like other people at FSM, like Dan Taxation and Steph Berman. This is all in-house, and it's a great mission, but also you get to do something that's good for yourself. There's some really awesome CBD, CBG products. We've got like CBD honey, that's the word, and multiple other things. You can tell I've already been using their product today before we even started the show, because we're a little bit loopy, but we're gonna have a great time. I'm very excited to introduce to you guys the chair of the Libertarian Sex Workers Caucus, Svetlana. Welcome to the show.
Hello, David. Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day. How are you doing on this wonderful Wednesday?
Let's see. It is 111 degrees out here in the Arizona desert, so needless to say, I am enjoying my iced coffees very much, and I'm trying not to sweat what is left of my boobs off here at 6 o'clock in the evening.
I cannot relate at the moment. It's actually quite cold in New York. Well, I say cold, it's like 65, but like...
Well, nice. I mean, you know, my Russian self is somewhat jealous right now. That's all I can say. So, you know, we'll see that.
That's every time I've gone to Russia, it's been ridiculously warm. Actually, I keep going in the summer, and it's like 80 degrees out, and I'm like, you guys are lying.
I've never been. I mean, I'm just ethnically Russian, so you know, we're just gonna leave it at that. I just play a communist on TV.
That's fair.
Yeah. Sorry, sarcasm.
I love it.
I should have mentioned I'm a little bit overly sarcastic sometimes.
That is very much okay. I'm a big fan of sarcasm, so we'll get along well. You came very highly recommended before we even like interacted. Jeremy Todd told me that you were super awesome and that I had to talk to you. So, you know, you were already my friend before we even talked. So
I mean, yeah, I've just been told I make a mean mimosas. That's all that I can say.
Well, I will have to come try that.
I mean, all right. I wasn't the one making the mimosas. I'm just the one who says I make the mimosas while I drink all the vodka in the back. So
I like that plan.
I do too. We should make this happen sometime. I plan on being in New York in a few months, so you know, maybe then.
All right, or I'll be in Arizona here pretty soon as well. So we'll make something work. So first of all, tell me a little bit about how you first heard about the liberty movement and libertarianism and why you decided to join this clusterfuck.
Yeah, so simply put, I don't think I need to explain why I enjoy clusterfucks, but how I got into the liberty movement overall was actually back when I was a wee lass. There you go. Gosh, I mean, it's not like I'm known for being homosexual or anything like that. But so I actually got involved with the Libertarian Party back in 2008 when I was a wee lass at the age of 10 years old, hadn't even turned 11 yet. And I was, literally, both my parents were Republicans. So, I very much identified very strongly with the Republican Party at the time, even though I didn't know any better whatsoever, although things have changed slightly since then. And I remember seeing on a telephone pole, it was either a telephone pole or a traffic pole, as little bumper sticker that said, libertarianism, more freedom, less government. And I'm like, that sounds cool. I'm a libertarian now. Started watching John Stossel in my spare time whenever I was able to on Saturdays. And here I am. Ended up starting to become more involved with the Libertarian Party last August, which ironically enough was a complete accident. Went to the Joe Jorgensen rally back in St. Louis, was invited there by John Phillips, one of the most principled men I know. Huge props to him. And ended up meeting a few people and ended up being involved in the Sex Work Caucus, and here I am talking to you.
Nice. I think you might be the only person I've met that became a libertarian because of a bumper sticker.
I mean, I was 10 years old, so I was just giving you my excuse there. No real ideological backing behind it. You know.
It's still cool though, because you like to think that you put that on your car and somebody will see it and actually like click something. Maybe like if you're watching this, maybe you were the person that had that sticker some odd years ago. It's a reassuring thought.
Yeah, I tried that, and then someone jumped on my hood in high school. So then I was like, maybe I should kind of reduce the libertarian stickers on my car. So, yeah. Granted, there's a Gadsden flag back in literally. So I got the car back in 2014. I still have that car, by the way. So she's still, I'm sitting outside of my driveway, and she needs a new exhaust manifold, but I'll take care of that here soon enough. But still has the same hood, same everything, most of the same bumper stickers, replaced a couple of them. On my new car, put a stripper sticker on it because why not? So,
mad respect for that one too.
Appreciate it.
I like that.
Same. Makes me happy.
I have gone through way too many cars in my few years. I've totaled a few, and yeah, it's not pretty. Don't have a good track record.
Yeah, so I've had 4 cars in my life. My first was my 2000 Honda Civic. Then I had a 2001 BMW Z3 for less than a day. I bought it and flipped it. Not like flipped it over, but like sold it. And then I stuck with the Civic for a few more years. And then in April of last year, bought a 2019 Nissan Sentra, 6-speed manual, brand new off the lot. I was super hyped about it. I have a cheap car, fly under the radar, lemon law. And so now I have a 2021 GTI. Unfortunately, it's a DSG. I know I'm not the cool bitch anymore who drives a 6-speed, but it's a fast car, and I've beaten a few Mustangs in my time. So
nice.
For legal purposes, it is still stock.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Why wouldn't it be? Of course.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't look like at all like the type of girl to drive fast. Shout out to New Mexico for giving me a ticket for between 80 and 65. But anyways, just not going to worry about that.
Okay, we're back.
All right, there we go.
All right. My bad. My internet absolutely sucks.
Yeah, I had that issue last night. I was working on streaming, by the way. Shameless plug, shy97.camhandles.com. Anyways, my internet crashed a couple of times thanks to the wonderful people over at Comcast who are making such a reliable product.
Oh, the best. We live in the middle of nowhere, and so I can't even get like cable or Verizon or anything like that. We have Dish, and we have like DSL internet. I'm pretty sure still it's trash.
That's hey, at least I know that might not just be entirely me, because I was worried that was going to be on my end for the person.
Oh no, that was me. We just got new internet, and it decided to do this thing whenever I stream where it'll just disconnect from my laptop. My laptop will just kind of give up on trying to connect to the internet and just disconnect. And so I have to like log back into the internet midstream and hope that my guest doesn't just like give up on me while it takes too long. Super fun times.
Well, noted. So.
Yeah. So if it happens again, just like pitch your channel or something.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I just muted my mic, and I was like actually sending you a DM on Twitter asking if I lost you because I thought that my internet crashed. So hey, at least I didn't decide to to let the titties loose, because that would have been a shame. But
I mean, we are streaming on a few platforms that wouldn't deplatform me for it. YouTube might though. So
yeah, I mean, it's like honestly, YouTube probably hates me already, anyways. And though I made like 2 videos on their website, so
I don't know how they haven't yelled at me yet. I've talked about a lot of terrible things on YouTube, and they haven't even once tried to take me down.
I mean, hey, that's pretty impressive. I guess you're doing something wrong then.
All right. I'm not a real libertarian.
Yeah, you're not a real libertarian until you get banned from like every single social media platform in the world.
Mm-hmm. I did finally get a Twitter suspension for 24 hours the other day. I told Hillary Clinton to quote, go suicide another pedo friend and shut the fuck up.
Given the developments within the past 20 hours, I'm going to stand silent on that.
Right.
Anyone who's seen the tweets knows exactly who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, can leave it at that.
Yeah. So yeah, I got, which honestly, like, I should have known better on that one, because that one, like, people are like, oh, you went at Hillary, so they had to delete it. And I was like, no, I said go suicide. Like you can't say that. Like, the algorithm is gonna be like, oh, you're telling someone to kill themselves. That's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, that's why you got to tell people, just go forever, or go self-forever. Fuck. Self-forever sleep someone. Shout out to a donut operator for that one.
All right. So you mentioned briefly that that you got involved in the sex workers caucus, and that's what got you kind of involved in the party. Tell me a little bit more about the caucus and how you actually got plugged into it.
All right, so the caucus is actually we're still kind of working on a reboot. So last December we had a bit of a change up in leadership. A shakeup would probably be a better way to approach things, and so we're really finally sex worker run. Everyone that is on the board right now is a sex worker, which is absolutely amazing. We're doing work with Molly Smash, and it is just an absolutely great time right now. Definitely working on expanding our outreach a little bit more. Personally, I'm focusing more on like the smaller level things, because I have contacts in St. Louis and out here in Arizona. So really working on trying to get some policy movement maybe, while also working for the Libertarian Party as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to answer your other question, how I got involved in it, literally talked with a guy who was like, oh, hey, we have a sex work caucus. Let me put you in touch with the chairman of it. And that started everything. And it's been a really fun roller coaster of a ride.
See, that's what, in my mind, that's what one of the main things that caucuses exist for. It's like, oh, you care about a thing. Let me put you in touch with this group of people that really, really cares about that thing. And then boom.
Yeah, exactly. And, I've had some discussions with people before where they're like, okay, so you're in charge of the sex work caucus, so you're a single issue caucus. And my response to that is almost always, no, we're not a single issue caucus. Yes, we're worried about sex work, but we're also related to all the issues that affect a lot of sex workers throughout the entire country. Police harassment, police brutality, sexual assault issues, drug issues as well. Because what people don't understand is that there is a lot of drug use in the sex work community for various reasons. Some because, more drug-based sex work, but however, also in a lot of cases, especially with cocaine and crank and stuff like that, so that way workers can actually be able to continue to work hours on end in order to be able to sustain themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I like that you mentioned that, because it is easy to get kind of caught up in like the single issue and like kind of get a tunnel vision. But a lot of the areas in politics, most areas in politics are multifaceted and very complex, and that's one of the things that I think the Libertarian Party is best at, is introducing that nuance to the conversation and saying like, hey, this is more of a police brutality issue than this issue.
Yeah, and you're totally right there. Although I had to kind of chuckle at the nuance to everything, given of how it's like everything anymore is just a dichotomy. But going back to the heart of your message, though, you're totally right. And the other thing I forgot to mention as well is that there are quite a few trans sex workers in the overall sex work community as well. And so also working in order to be able to be like, hey, let's help these people as well. And I hate the word help. I took some public health classes, and the word help has just like really been tainted to me, even though it's used colloquially far too often in my mind. But that's just a subject for a whole other day that I would probably go off on about 10 minutes. But no one has time for that, especially a law student.
Yeah. So how have you been able to kind of cross build those bridges and cross those different pieces of messaging and explain to people that might care more about police brutality than maybe sex workers' rights, and explain to them how you guys are really fighting the same fight?
So basically, the way that I approach it is literally just exactly what you said. We're fighting the exact same fight. Maybe we're coming from different perspectives, but sex workers of color, trans sex workers, white sex workers as well, we all are in the same game ultimately. Although I will say, There are far more police issues related to the color of people's skin, which is absolutely terrible. And just being honest with people as well. Maybe you really aren't that big on sex work. That's great. Let me get in touch with someone who is more aligned with what you would want to fight for exclusively, or take a larger part in fighting. Because I totally understand that not everyone is going to want to be like, oh, hey, I'm with the sex work caucus, or my number one goal is to have full service sex work decriminalized, have clubs maybe be deregulated a little bit, zoning for clubs to be able to open be expanded, and things of the sort. And really the biggest thing I have to come to terms with is that not everyone has my number one goal as their number one goal. But if I can at least get them involved in the liberty movement, then we'll be able to get them more in line with the overall message. And that is where you really start to see progress. So one thing that I've noticed a lot of, and I'm kind of going a little bit off kilter here, or a little bit off topic here. One thing I've noticed with a lot of my interactions is that a lot of my colleagues, especially in the dancing industry, tend to be more on the left-wing side of things, both economically and socially. And I'm like, okay, well, let's actually talk about this a little bit. What if you're able to have this much more money in your pocket because you weren't being taxed so harshly? Or what if I told you that there is a party that actually gives a shit about all the social issues you do? Guess what? There is one. Maybe you have some economic differences with everything. Maybe you have some differences in messaging. I have some differences in messaging too with a lot of what's been coming up recently. I just want to make that abundantly clear.
Oh yeah.
But if I can at least get the idea in their mind of being like, oh, hey, the liberty movement, the Libertarian Party is a thing, and we are a growing political party. We may have our issues. We all have our growing pains. But get involved with us, and you'll be able to see some real progress quicker than you would expect. Because guess what? Despite everything else, we're still the party of principle. And that's a message that I really do think we're going to see, that we're really going to be focusing on a lot more in the coming years.
Yeah, we have always kind of had this internal struggle and divide and infighting. There have always been coups and takeovers and states divided and multiple parties existing at the same time. This is nothing new, nothing at all. And that's all I'm going to say about what's going on right now.
Sorry. It's just so hard for me to separate what happened last night from this conversation. So
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I watched a chunk of it, but
I watched too much of it.
But this is something that's existed for a long time. There's never been a time where everyone in the Libertarian Party was like, yeah, we have great messaging. It's never happened. We've existed for 50 years.
And it never will either, because whenever you have this many people, because by nature, we are individualistic. And so you literally cannot have, I'm just going to throw a number out. You will never be able to have 40 million individualistic people be like, oh yeah, well, we are all on the same page here. It is literally impossible. So the best that exactly, it's not. Literally the best that we can hope for is oh, hey, yeah, let's actually get fully behind this candidate because the convention's already happened. Let's back this candidate and let's get them into the White House. We can have our disagreements. You can say whatever you want, or at least privately, but publicly, we have to be able to push, our 2024 candidate.
Yeah.
As much as we possibly can.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you have to be a lot of people I will hear push back on sentences like that instinctively, oh, you just want me to sacrifice my principles. And it's but if we all show up in Reno or not Reno, wherever the 24 convention is, and
St. Louis, Missouri, just making that up because plug in St. Louis.
If we all show up and we all vote and we're all doing our job for the next 3 years, there shouldn't be a possibility for an unprincipled, shitty candidate to win the nomination.
Exactly.
Make sure that you don't have to sacrifice your principles in the general election.
Yeah, because I'm just going to there's a speech, I cannot remember what the lady's name was, but she was speaking to the American Atheists back in the 60s, I believe. And she was like, we won the fight, but what happened? We sat on our asses. And if you really look at the libertarian principles, ever since this country started, don't get me wrong, this country was not equal. It was not truly egalitarian whenever we started out. Obviously, slavery existed. And throughout our history, we've had Jim Crow, we've had all sorts of bigoted policies and bigoted national laws and now we're dealing with the police force that is way too overzealous in some cases. But if you look at the core principles there, those, realistically speaking, are libertarian. And I know people well, no, they're classical liberals. Yeah, effectively. But if you look at a lot of the classical...
It's the same thing.
Exactly. Well, in In literal terms, yes, but unfortunately, in practical terms, you compare today's classical liberals to today's libertarians. Yes, some people who shouldn't be using the term that are using the term, if we're being totally honest here.
Mhm.
But I want to plug a certain right-wing YouTuber here, but I'm not going to. Or not plug, but just mention. But name dropping is probably bad whenever you don't like
Wait, no, say it. Now I'm curious.
I
Are
was
you
gonna say
talking Dave Rubin?
No, I'm talking Sargon of Akkad.
Oh,
Carl
okay.
Benjamin. Yeah, because I remember back in 15 and 16, he was throwing around the term classical liberal all the time. And it's like, you're a little bit too far right-wing for that, my friend.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, the first person that comes to my mind when I hear the term classical liberal is Dave Rubin, who actually, you know, I have my disagreements with him, but I think he is a classical liberal, and I also used to use that term quite often to describe myself. He was kind of the one that made me like, yeah, I like what that is. We disagree, but that's kind of the point.
yeah,
Is
exactly.
that we can.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, then you have people like Sargon who use the exact same term, but also advocate for, shall we say, harsh immigration policies that severely limit the number of people coming into a country based on religion and other aspects that I don't think should be limiting factors. So,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Shitty people are always going to try to commandeer good terminology, and that's just something that we're going to have to just
deal with.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, yeah, we're going to have this issue, but as long as people are able to see, oh, hey, that person says that they're libertarian, but this is what the Libertarian Party actually stands for, then we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're always gonna have like just god awful garbage people call themselves libertarians. I mean, David Duke has in the past, Stefan Molyneux, Chris Cantwell, Jeremy Kaufman. You know, there's just like a whole list of god awful humans that have called themselves libertarians.
Do you know what, David? I wish that this was alcohol, but my friend, I drink to you.
Cheers.
Here, cheers. Oh shit! Good thing God, that's gonna. I can already tell that's gonna be. I don't know if you saw what I did there, but I literally was like about to down. I'm so used to cheering. I'm like, wait, shit! There's a lid and there's a straw there. Thankfully, it didn't go all over myself because used to getting pearl necklaces, but I'm not used to getting them coffee necklaces. So.
This is by far turning into one of the more enjoyable episodes of this show. I'm glad.
I mean, whenever you have a girl who literally has a stripper pole and 8-inch platforms right by her chair, what do you expect?
Right. I mean,
you should expect a shit show.
or a lit show. One of the two.
Where's my weed?
That's a good question because you asked that as I'm rolling up. So
Hashtag rude. Anyways,
I mean, if you were here, I would share. But you're
that's all right. I actually can't smoke for a couple more months anyway, so because of reasons. Yeah. And also for purposes of the bar character and fitness examination, I have never once engaged in any sort of illegal drug use in any time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear.
Of course.
Just to be abundantly clear here.
Yeah.
So
never. We don't do illegal drugs because drug laws are unconstitutional and don't actually really exist.
I was gonna say drugs are bad, kids don't do drugs, but that works too. So
okay, yeah, don't do drugs, kids. This is a family-friendly YouTube channel where we talk about sex, drugs, and alcohol and libertinism.
Yeah, and where you have girls, or where you have a girl here who is making jokes about getting pearl necklaces because she almost spilled coffee all over herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say that that's more rare for content on the show, but it's inappropriate jokes are kind of par for the course at this point. It's like inappropriate jokes and tech difficulties. Those are the two things that come every week.
Unlike me. Anyways. It's a good thing my girlfriend isn't watching.
Same. So tell me a little bit. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about how you got involved in sex work.
I plead the fifth. I'll tell you the story about how I got involved into dancing now.
Okay.
How about that? Yeah, I think that's the best way to approach it. So, for all intents and purposes, I've been working as a cam girl for a while, and so I had just gotten some stuff taken care of, and I was chatting with the receptionist at my apartment building at the time in St. Louis, and this girl was like, "Oh, hey, I don't know you, but congrats," because it was a pretty big deal. I was actually related to to law school, and she was like, "Oh, hey, that's awesome." She came over, gave me a high five, and she had a bag over her shoulder. I'm like, "Oh, cool." She's probably a dancer. And sure enough, we're chatting a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, hey, you're really cool. You have a great body. We exchanged Instagrams prior to this, and this is like where the conversation happened." She's like, "You should come to my club and work as a dancer." I'm like, "Cool, that sounds like it would be fun." And so here I am, just thinking to myself, like, "Oh dear God, like I am, like my makeup. My makeup look on the daily is what I go to school in." So just to be clear, that would have been a Thursday, so my class was at 12:45. So I would have been wearing my makeup at this point for about 8 hours. And so I'm like, oh dear God, now I'm supposed to work now, assuming that they hire me. So yeah, that's how I, like, literally just a chance coincidence or chance meeting like that is how I got involved with dancing, and ended up, like floating around the St. Louis area a little bit. And now out in Arizona, it's a very different club atmosphere out here, especially in Southern Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, literally chance is how I got involved in dancing and cam work. I was on Chatterbait for a little bit with one account, and then I lost credentials to that account, so I had to make another one. And then I heard about what's called Streaming, which is more of a pay-by-the-minute type deal, which I was like, okay, well, cool. I should be a lot better at that, because simply put, Chatterbait just was not paying the bills. Because it's like, I love the website, but you have to be more exhibitionist. And like whenever I would get private chats, I would make absolute bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to switch over to Streaming, which is where I've been now for over a year consistently. I took one hiatus, actually 2 hiatuses. One was because just personal reasons, needing some time off. And then the other reason is because my Nissan Sentra decided to have a bad engine and stranded me in St. Louis for almost 3 months while the lemon law process went through. So yeah, that was a very fun time. Actually, it was 2 months, but it felt like an eternity. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'll admit I wouldn't call myself sheltered necessarily growing up, because like I had a lot of friends that were way worse than me. So considering the Overton window of shelteredness in my hometown, I was on the more progressive side of it. But I was a good little Christian church boy and a Boy Scout and a youth group leader and all those other things. And there was I don't want to say a stigma, because that's not quite the right word, but there was just like a disconnect. I didn't really understand, like, even the appeal of like a strip club. I was like, ew, why would you want to just like go that like I
heard that there's titties and vaginas there. Like, I mean, who the fuck would want like all of that?
Right.
But no, I totally get that. I too was a very sheltered child. I was a good Catholic girl who saved myself from marriage by having anal throughout high school. But
relate.
Yeah, but my mailbox has always been kept safe from from the works of the devil. But so yeah, and then literally it was just kind of one of those things where originally it was like, okay, cool, I have a sheltered period. Now it's time for me to like kind of be myself now because I'm in college, which I kept my natural hair color literally until last June, which is kind of ironic. But it's like, I just maintain the sheltered, look, maintain professionalism while in college classes. Which now I'm in law school with bright red hair.
I dig it.
Thanks, appreciate it. Definitely a unique look.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's probably not a lot of people in your classes with the really zero. Well, I mean, you are in Arizona. Yeah, I feel like if you were like in NYU law, you would fit right in.
Yeah, and also I should note though that also not having in-person classes made it a lot harder to like really get a vibe on people's like what they're doing. But yeah, so obviously like in the legal profession, you don't see a whole lot of people with dyed hair like this. You'll see some blondes, but nothing quite like this.
Yeah.
But I just don't give a shit. Like it's kind of like the ultimate libertarian thing of like, yeah, ask me if I give a fuck. I don't.
Well, give no fucks and take no shits.
Yeah, I'm just selling, but anyways. Hashtag legalize sex work. But anyways,
Hashtag capitalism at its finest.
Hashtag unfettered capitalism is not the best form of capitalism. But however, unfettered prostitution is the best way to go about things. So
can confirm. Yeah, and it was a very interesting like transition for me, because I got less sheltered in all the ways, right? Now I'm a stoner and a whole bunch of other things, but it was the final like push was I ended up actually living with a good friend of mine for for about 2 months, I was kind of homeless while I was running for office. And so I was like kind of couch surfing. But most of the time I was staying with people who were my neighbor. And one of them was a stripper. And so I actually got to like hang out with her and like went to work with her a couple times and like just talk to her about stuff. And I was like, okay, I kind of get it. But like, I mean, before then I had already broken out of most of my boxes, but it was still a weird jump of like, how do you disconnect because I was always just like a super like lovey-dovey hopeless romantic style. So the idea of being able to like disconnect from that mindset just never clicked with me until maybe a year ago.
Yeah, like that's kind of the thing too that personally, it's like whenever people are like, well, like how do you work as a dancer? How are you an entertainer? Like, and how do you do this? Like, for a living, and absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way I can describe it is that it has been the greatest thing that could ever have happened to my self-esteem. Like literally dancing is ultimately what got me through COVID, not financially because like everywhere was closed, but well, not this exact bowl because I broke 2 of them because I got the cheap bowls to start out with. But like during quarantine, like literally my time whenever I wasn't studying and writing papers was literally spent practicing dancing. I went from not being able to do shit on it to being able to be like, holy crap, I am that bitch now. And it just makes you feel so great. And also like whenever you're up on stage, like whenever people like just are throwing cash on your stage, it is such a confidence booster. As long as you're able to keep maintaining that, like it's just a confidence booster and not get too like not allow your ego to kind of get too out of control. Which I would never let that happen to me. But anyways, I'm just not going to worry about that part of it. Yeah. It's like me walking into a club like that I don't even work at, and just it is really interesting though. Whenever you're talking with someone, or like going into IHOP like at 3:00 in the morning, and just like which I do like after I get off cam every night pretty much. Because like I have some friends work at this local IHOP, and it's like I mean as long as I'm like in fully clothed, like not wearing underwear, it's like I was just fucking go in there, play my little table in the corner, and just like eat my New York cheesecake style pancakes, and then drink my coffee, and then go home and eventually sleep at 6 in the morning. But every once in a while, like I'll see a couple girls walk in there, and I'm like, I bet you just got done working in one of the clubs, didn't you? I won't say that, but I'll be thinking it because dancers can usually tell other dancers pretty quickly.
Right.
And it's like even though I've been out of the clubs now for roughly 5 months, just because like it's easier to work. It's easier to well, I don't say easier. It's just more convenient for me right now because I have so much shit going on. But it's just like
Yeah. That makes sense, and the confidence booster definitely makes sense because I mean, that's why I go to clubs, and I'm not even like that. I go to gay clubs because because getting hit on is a huge confidence booster. I'm not gay, but I'll go to a gay club just because like it's more fun, and the people there are more fun. Sure.
What are you saying? It's because I have a girlfriend and I haven't dated a dude in how long? God, David, way to assume.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I actually was having a conversation with a few of my friends the other day because we were debating on what club to go to. We all went and visited New York City this weekend. And fortunately, all the gay clubs are like closed right now because they're still all like freaking out about COVID. Most of the clubs are open, but the gay clubs are all like outdoor dining and drinking and no dancing and bleh.
I mean, hey, all I can say though is that come out to Arizona and I'll tell you the best strip clubs to go to in St. Louis is the same scenario. So
okay,
I will be subtle shout out to a Hustler St. Louis and Diamond Cabaret in St. Louis as well. But just I'm not plugging anything.
Not plugging anything. No, you don't believe in sponsorships, remember?
No, of course not. And especially free sponsorships. I mean, shit. Like why ever would I give out passes to a club to my friends?
I'm very much looking forward to this summer. I have a lot of plans to do traveling, and it kind of kicked off with the PA convention about a month ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was an interesting time. I became a member of the Libertarian Party Trashy Prom Caucus that weekend, and we decided to ditch every event the second night and just take over a local bar in Pittsburgh. There was like 2 townies there and the bartender, and then just like 15 of us, just like.
Hey, better way to spend your time than worried about that convention.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we all just got drunk and had fun, and I met some of my best friends, and so that happened. And then this past weekend really wasn't a party thing, but it turned into a party thing. And then we've got Michigan in 2 weeks, Pork Fest next week, and then the Colorado thing. And there's just so many things happening. We're finally out of the tunnel with COVID, and like no libertarians give a shit about it anymore. Some of the states are trying to pretend that there's still a thing, but like as a party, we're all over it. We're all doing our thing, and this summer's gonna be lit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, personally, like I got vaccinated back in April, like whenever like Arizona opened up vaccinations to everyone over age 16, I got my shot as soon as I possibly could. And it's like once I got my first one, I was like, okay, be a little bit careful. Got the second one though. I've only worn a mask like whenever I haven't had my face up all done and shit twice. Mm-hmm. Both of them were actually yesterday because I went to 2 stores to go clothes shopping, and they both require masks, and I'm just like, oh my god. But it's one of those things where it's like if you're vaccinated, like you're safe.
I've put on a mask exactly twice since I got back from Pennsylvania, because that was kind of a trigger moment for me in a good way. Being at the Mises Caucus bash in PA, being in a room with 450 people and not a single mask, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it really is a really good feeling.
Mm-hmm. And so I got home and I was like, I'm never wearing a mask again. And so I didn't stick with that necessarily. I put a mask on to get on the bus to go to New York City, and I put a mask on to check into my hotel the second night while I was there because it was a nice hotel and they were being bitchy. But I took it off as soon as I walked away from the concierge desk, and I was like, fuck you guys.
It's like, I literally don't blame you.
Mm-hmm.
I literally don't blame you at all. Because, it's just one of those things where it's like, the masks had their purpose. And it's like, like objectively speaking, they did. But it's like now at this point, it's like, it's just run through the course. And as long as people are getting vaccinated, like that's a really good thing. It's like, lockdowns, those are terrible. And any sort of mandates at all are just absolutely terrible and should never happen. However, voluntary action, such as getting your COVID-19 shot, do it. I know there have been some concerns about safety with it, but all of those have been extremely isolated cases, and they're still being distributed for a reason.
Yeah,
my public health side is coming out right here, so apologies for the grandstand. But
I personally have not gotten vaccinated and probably won't, because in 2020 I worked in 14 states, took over a dozen planes and like 20 buses and trains, and knocked almost 100,000 doors, and tested negative about 20 times consistently. I've never gotten it.
And guess what? That's your fucking choice to make.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. It's a fucking choice. Your body, your choice. It's like, I chose to get vaccinated. You have the right not to.
Right. It's really fucking simple, ain't it?
It really is. It's like, I could refrain from coffee. I could refrain from, going to grab my vodka bottle right now and just like doing 10 shots. Actually, I will refrain from that because I have to work. But it's like, just let people decide what they want to do.
Right.
And that's really where I draw the line.
100%. The libertarian philosophy, not the party or the policy or anything, but the actual like philosophy that is the foundation of what we believe, that is the live and let live and take no fucks, give no shits. That is so simple, and it really is like the most beautiful way to live life, because you get to just like not give shits. Like, it's so nice. Like, I don't understand people that like voluntarily take on this extra stress and emotional baggage just so that they can care too much about what their neighbor is putting in their body. I don't get it. Yeah, exactly. I don't get that either. And it's like, it's kind of the exact same philosophy that I have with regards to like, sleeping with people. It's like, if I'm going to go chill with my girlfriend, we're going to go do adult shit, that's our fucking right to. But if, my downstairs neighbor, has a problem with it, like, he can disagree with me all he wants. Well, guess what? He can still go fuck himself with the cactus that's sitting right outside. He's more than welcome to go ahead and sit on the saguaro. I'm pretty sure that's actually illegal in Arizona. But anyways, he's more than welcome to go do that. Right. As long as you're not like
I'm not going to be the one hitting him with a cactus. He's going to be standing on it himself. So it's like self-inflicted pain deserved sometimes. But
as long as you're not like violating the NAP, if you're not like keeping him awake or something, don't violate his naps, and then it's fine.
Did someone mention that I'm a screamer?
All the best are.
True that.
This is quickly becoming the most fun episode we've done.
Good. I like to market myself as being a fun time, and so to know that I'm living up to that promise is very fulfilling to myself.
Yeah,
and my own reviews.
Your reputation precedes you, and it is quite accurate. I will say that. So
basically, what you're saying is I'm a crazy redheaded. I'm a Russian bitch who has absolutely no personality whatsoever, and just sits here all stoically and talking extremely fast while staring out the window that is actually currently closed.
I'm dead.
I'm just wait, shit, did I just violate your NAP? Am I like not a real libertarian?
Okay. Of course you're not.
Okay, yeah, thought so. Yeah, because I have like literally Starbucks cup from last night and a Panera cup here right in front of me, and there's a Dunkin' Donuts cup in my kitchen. So I'm like not a real libertarian whatsoever.
Because you can't be.
All right, well, I guess I'll just show myself out.
You patronize big businesses. We're done. It's over. Sorry. Okay. We can't be friends anymore.
All right. Okay. Good fuck. Go fuck yourself then, I guess.
That might bring my viewership count up a little bit. Some people might like that.
Hey, you can always just go to that one website that just allows fans on it. So, which conveniently enough, I literally had to have my ceiling fan in this room removed so I could get my pole installed. Yeah, it's so funny because there's like literally a hole in my ceiling, like where the fan used to be, and it's just like the biggest goof ever. Like, people walk in, and like one time someone walked in and was like, "Wait, why is there a hole in your ceiling?" I'm like, "Oh, I had to get the ceiling fan removed because of the pole." Yeah.
So instead of OnlyFans, it's no fans. That's sad.
Exactly. Yeah, which it kind of explains my my recent OnlyFans decline, which surely isn't because I just like kind of fell behind on posting, making content for it.
It's so difficult to keep up with content.
It really is.
I got so far behind this week. I made the promo for today's episode like just before it was supposed to get posted. Normally I like schedule stuff days in advance, and like I have a whole big system that my friend built for me, and like with scheduling out and like a calendar and all this shit, and I was using it for a week, and then this week I did not do that because, as we discussed, my weekend was very hectic and crazy and turned into a 4-day weekend instead of a 1-day weekend.
Yeah, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, or I was going to make a joke about you just turning into a Russian because, I have, so aside from my Soviet victory banner that I have hanging up right there, I also have a Russian, Empire Imperial banner right next to it as well. So, and there's literally a Russian flag hanging up in my my living room as well, because it's like, I really do embrace the niche whenever I'm on cam, especially. So it used to be really cool. I used to have one hanging up over there. And so like whenever I was doing pole tricks or whatever, like you would literally just like see me like doing shit in front of the flag, and it's just like, oh hey, that's cool. Like, she's just like really embracing the fucking niche thing.
I dig it. I've always had a very large chunk of my friend group as like actual Russians. Like I used to work for we'll say the Russian economic group of New York. We'll say that. We won't say mob. We'll say the economic group. I worked, got my first job in finance and didn't really realize what the fuck I was doing, and did some fun things. I've worked for a lot of Russians. It's a fun time.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
They don't care about smoking in the office. That's something that's pretty consistent. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it really is interesting because what people don't realize is just how much Russians actually smoke. And so like back before I quit smoking, it was always like, why do you smoke so much? I'm just like, I don't know, I just like it. And then someone was like, you realize that like Russians do that all the time, right? I'm like, wait, shit, really?
Oh yeah, it's a problem. It's like the reason that I got back into smoking cigarettes, because like all my coworkers would take a smoke break like every hour, And I'm like, I want to go smoke.
Yeah, it's
I don't
like,
want to
fuck it.
sit here and work. I was working like a whole extra hour every day than the rest of my coworkers. I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm smoking.
Yeah, I totally get that. And it's like, for me personally, I really enjoy the aesthetic of it all, because there's nothing just quite like especially like whenever I'm like, wearing arm warmers or whatever. It's just like, just having a cigarette in your hand, just like blowing smoke, just feels so fucking classy.
Oh,
Or a friend of mine, she's a dancer. It's one club that I really love going to. Probably going to go back there. Actually later this year. But the very first time I ever met her, she was sitting out on the patio taking a smoke break, literally with an Audrey Hepburn cigarette holder. And I am just like, oh my God, that is like the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I dig it.
It's just the aesthetic of it all.
That's a sick aesthetic. I like it.
Yeah, it really is. And also like having lighters, like just like the lighter tells you a lot about a person as well. Like either I always have like something that's really fucking witchy, or in the case of the Hustler, a lighter that I have out there that hasn't been used in too long. God, voice crack. Yeah, it's like, guess what? Guess what? I have a Hustler lighter. I had no fucking clue. No idea whatsoever.
Yeah, I would agree that a lighter does tell you a lot about a person.
Yeah.
I was one of those. I actually carried a lighter on me long before I started smoking, because I've always been like a traditionalist gentleman type. So like a lady never lights her own cigarette. And so even before I started smoking, you always had a lighter on you in case someone needed a light.
Yeah, in one of the clubs I was at, the saying always was, pretty bitches don't light their own cigarettes. So yeah. It's like either chivalry or for that reason. It's like, it's a good reason. It's like, yeah. Because I could burn, maybe not these two nails, but I could burn one of my acrylics.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would not be a fun time, which I've done many times, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Fun fact, that's a big reason I quit doing French style nails, is because they were classy. Yeah, they were great for some of my adventures, I should say, but you accidentally catch the lighter or the flame in one of those nails, it is fucked. So it's like, nothing quite like a brown spot.
Oof. Yeah. Can't relate there. I've never lit my fingernail on fire, but that doesn't sound like a good time.
I never lit it on fire. I just barely cringed it, but I don't like having my thumbnail look like I have fucking shit all over it. So sorry, I'm a fecal play isn't one of the things I'm into. So
really? That one's fun though.
It's one of the.
I had to get you.
I don't give a shit. Find him somewhere else.
Always a good time. Always a good time on the fight for liberty. This is what's pressing America right now. This is what is really the problem that we need to be fighting. It's not the state, it's kink shaming.
I guess I just kink shamed you then, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. For the record, guys, I'm being sarcastic here. Not into that.
Crisis number 3 for this entire time. Yeah, I was about to say it's one of those things that at least earlier I had the part where I almost fucking dumped this entire thing on my face if the lid would have broke. But at least we're even now. We're 1 for 1 with a very memeable moment. So, which, as long as we keep things even, Comrade Lenin and Comrade Stalin will be very happy with us.
Exactly.
So. And for the record, if anyone didn't notice, this is a Soviet Union car flag that I bought to put on my Volkswagen GTI for €1 a month at the car show, or at the Cars and Coffee. And if you're asking yourself, why do you have a Soviet flag? Just one. I also have a Russian flag to commemorate Russia kicking Germany's ass in 44 and 45.
Based. I also have a Russian flag somewhere in this room. I'm not sure where they all ended up. I have a flag from every country I've been to. So
that's actually really fucking cool. Sorry, I'm putting these arm warmers on because they're sitting right in front of me, and I'm used to sitting in this chair with my tits out and having these arm warmers on, and it's just kind of annoying me, even though I can't have my boobs out. But tragic. Or I just have to pay respects.
Right. I'm a big fan of the arm warmers. I mean, and the boobs out, but
they are really cute. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, emo was shit. That's kind of the point.
Emo is cool.
emo is very cool. It's kind of like why I literally bought a fucking gothic / steampunk corset and skirt combo off Amazon for cam, and I put it on today, and I realized I forgot how hard these fuckers are to put on, so I'm not gonna be able to wear it on cam because StreamMate gives you 30 seconds after you wrap up private to get your clothes back on, and it's not gonna be possible with that. It's like press up pair specs to my bank account. That's spent too much money on that outfit. But anyways.
I was always into like the emo stuff, but I was never emo myself. Like I wasn't dressed in all black or like dye my hair or paint my nails or anything like that. But I listened to the right music, and all my friends did that shit. But I was just like, I was the one weird kid in like khakis and a polo in a group of like long haired like skater kids, and I was always the odd man out.
Yeah, I totally get that. And back in high school, I never went through this phase. Because my high school had a uniform code, ironically enough, so it was always polos and khakis every single day. Because even though we were a public school, we can't have the gang shit coming into our school, which is utterly racist, if I dare say so myself. But
of course,
I'm not on the very left side of libertarian. Apparently, after taking my political compass test yesterday.
Really?
Yes. So I actually tweeted it out.
You have to get rid of your Russian flags now. Then you're a disgrace.
So the second one that I took was I was intentionally trying to go as far left authoritarian as I possibly could, and I actually ended up being more libertarian than I meant to. Like, let me see if I can find the tweet real quick. Yeah. So I ended up being like 6 squares above. I'm on the center. On the libertarian / authoritarian side, but I was 9.88 when it comes to economic left wing shit, and I'm just like fuck, like I didn't quite make it to Stalin yet, but and unfortunately my actual test was, let me check real quick, 4.13 over on the economic left and like 3.6 on the libertarian side. So I'm like, okay, a little bit more moderate than I expected, but I can deal with it.
We'll get you to be an anarchist here eventually.
I mean, hey, you said that I'm not already mostly there. I mean, I'm an anarchist. It's like, have a small enough government that we can allow people to do whatever the fuck they want while still enforcing things that need to be enforced for the people who need it, such as having a competent national defense, not a mercenary force that can be deployed to any part of the world that has not fought for freedom since 1945.
True that. I can I could concede to a minarchist state. Of course, when we get there, I'll still be advocating for further decentralization, but I'm okay if that becomes a losing fight again. If we coalesce, get to that state, and then a bunch of people stop fighting with us, and then it's just a bunch of anarchists still raging against the minarchist government, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, because basically, here's what I would say at that point. I would be like, all right, fuck you, go to your little commune that you can have because the government's not going to stop you from having it.
True that.
And that's literally because I've had this discussion with a few of my colleagues here in the Arizona Libertarian Party before, and it's like, I think I'm a JT and I kind of are on the same page with this. It's like, have a small enough government that you can have people who want to live on their own, like totally off the grid, allow them to be able to.
Yep.
Like allow them to cover themselves, which what's more American than that? For being objective here.
Yeah.
And I use American as a sub-in for libertarian right there as well. Because
we can get there. And Arizona is already looking to be one of the most libertarian states. You guys have got pretty good gun laws. You got good weed laws. You've got pretty good tax laws.
Yeah, and I would love to show you my my anti-California rifle that has a high-capacity magazine in it and everything. Except, unfortunately, the entire Libertarian Party here in Arizona is actually involved in a tragic boating accident in Lake Ligama, where we lost all of our assault-style or military-style rifles. So,
damn.
Yeah, it's like
it's a shame.
The Lake Ligama monster got us all. So it was truly tragic.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It was very tragic, and I'm still sad over it to this day.
It's going to take a little bit of mourning. I get it.
Yeah, I've went through about 2 cases of beer.
That's it.
Not enough vodka, as I consider the 5.5 liters of vodka or 5.5 liters worth of vodka bottles that are empty on the top of my fridge. plus a 750 milliliter one I just finished polishing off the other day. That I've literally finished since I got here to Arizona back in September. And if you include the fact that I've been gone for about 4 of those months.
It's a good record. Not Russian enough. I'm not the biggest vodka person. I'm more of a rum guy.
That's fair. Everyone has a right to be wrong.
Mm-hmm. I have warmed up to it though. When I first started drinking, I was a little bitch, and I was like, vodka, it hurts. And then when I really realized that I was an alcoholic was when I finished an entire bottle of vodka without a mixer or a chaser or anything. It was just straight over ice, and I finished the entire bottle. Like, I specifically bought it to make mixed drinks, and then never mixed it, and just finished the bottle in like 2 days. And I was like, I might be an alcoholic.
I'm trying to think. God, I remember this one joke that I heard a couple years ago that I'm trying to remember what it is. Oh, it's like instead of you might be a redneck if, you might be an alcoholic if. God, who was that? Was that bilingual?
Jeff Foxworthy, I think.
Jeff Foxworthy. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can never get those two straight.
Oh yeah, they're basically the same person.
Which, I'm not straight anyway, so it's like, what the fuck do you expect? So. Well, I'm not straight except in very particular circumstances, but we're just not going to worry about those. I felt like my very first podcast appearance isn't even under my actual name; it's under my stripper name. Like, I just fucking love that so much. it's like yeah, fuck life. We're just going straight in here with the fucking stripper name. Just go, oh hey guys, yeah, I'm definitely Svetlana 24/7. That's definitely what my name is. Totally, as I am actually being real for once, not being like, oh my gosh, yes, your 2-inch destroyer is absolutely the biggest one I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I mean, whoever said Twitter isn't real life just doesn't know what they're talking about.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Because when don't I insult someone's penis? Actually, when was the last time I insulted someone's dick on Twitter? I feel like it's been too long. Hey, I need someone with a very tiny penis to please send me a DM at Svetlana_XXX, as you see on the screen, just so I can publicly humiliate you. I just request that you send me $20 on my Cash App. Hey, that's a deal. I charge $60 for that on Streammate. So
I mean, you guys are getting a deal. This is the real sponsorship for the show.
This is a real sponsorship. and for legal purposes, I do not conduct any business over Cash App or Venmo.
Of course not. Why would you?
Never.
Do it all in Bitcoin.
Wait, why Bitcoin? Why not Dogecoin?
Well, Dogecoin. There should be. Is there like a coin specifically for the sex work community? There should definitely be like a fuck coin or something.
Hold up. Let me. Actually, I actually have one here buried here somewhere. Let me find it real quick. Here we go. So it's actually pretty simple. It actually already exists. Fun fact: so all of the original ones that I made, I still have right here. These are all $1 bills, so it's not like $5,000 or whatever. But yeah, this is my original stripper cash.
Nice.
And my first ever cash bag.
I like it.
Thanks. Yeah, it's very basic. And what the fuck? All right, I'm not gonna ask any questions. I just want a white spot on it. Don't eat donuts while you're handling your cash bag after work, kids.
Yeah, that Boston cream is messy.
It really is. Or even worse, some sort of cream pie. Those are the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely terrible. Especially whenever you just have a compilation of them. Just having to go through a sampler. That many cream pie stuff is bound to go wrong.
But they are delicious.
Oh, well, firstly, I don't eat them, so
you're missing out.
That's what I've been told. This is why I just need to get into porn and get into a 3-way with another girl, and then have her do cream pie, and then I can eat her out and actually finish the job, because
Well, guys, the fight for liberty is now fight for something else. But I mean, is there anything truly more free than an orgasm? Let's be real.
I mean, if you love going down on people, that's pretty free.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least
True.
you're good at it, I should say, because like if you're not good at it, then you could just like tell them and it makes you feel sad. Allegedly.
Yeah. Been in that scenario.
Yeah, and remember, ladies, I don't want to say that because it's probably gonna piss too many people off. I was gonna be like fake it till you make the bank, but it probably wouldn't be very appreciated by certain people. So.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, but then again, I should just note that discretion is my profession. I've been saying that for 5 years, and I still managed to fuck that up. So, what did that say about me?
You're good at fucking things up.
And I'm just good at fucking too. So it's just like looks at dildos and dildo collection size. Looks at Medusa vibrator. which you can pick up at the Hustler, which you can pick up the Boutique Erotica at the Hustler St. Louis in Washington Park, Illinois, just off I-64.
One more shameless plug.
Very, very much so. Very much so. God, it actually is really fucking cool though. But anyways.
So before we wrap up, I want to ask you how people who are watching can get involved in the LP Sex Workers Caucus or just LP Arizona.
All right, so the LP Arizona, really the best way I say is always Twitter, because it feels like that's just the way that all of us communicate at this point. So our Twitter is at LPSWRC. So make sure you throw in the Romeo there between the whiskey and Charlie, and or you can actually DM me personally as well. My DMs, I believe, are open, and if they're not, just throw me some cash, and I'll make sure they get back to you. But yeah, so definitely get in touch with us. With my caucus on there, and with Arizona LP, follow on Twitter. I think it's at Arizona_LP, which I shouldn't have this memorized, but unfortunately I'm too busy. I'm drinking certain salty substances too often. So it's at Arizona_LP. Just going to give them a follow, and we're a cool crew.
That's definitely a fact.
Except it's hot as fuck out here because it's 108 degrees at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Yeah, I feel like I live in a place where only cockroaches should breed, but oh well, I guess I'm a cockroach then.
Yeah, I've had a decent representation of the Arizona LP on the show so far. Some pretty fucking awesome people. I need to get Lauren on here pretty soon, but I've had Jeremy, I had Steve, I've had Leilani, and now Tyler Smith is down there, and I just had him on.
Yeah, Tyler's a really cool guy.
I'm very excited about what he's going to do when he wins his LNC race.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I can say this as a fact and unequivocally, he has my full and unabated endorsement. So, shit, I just made my first ever political endorsement.
Ooh!
I just lost my virginity again.
I'm so excited! I got to pop your endorsement cherry.
You did. Congratulations! Don't really charge a shit ton for that. Anyways. Wait, hypothetically speaking, only in where's that legal? Only in Germany.
Only in Germany.
Ich weiß nicht. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Es ist nicht so gut, aber so, ich weiß nicht. Yeah.
All right.
Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. So.
I used to, and then forgot it all. I was very bad at languages in high school, and then just like didn't keep up with them. And now I really regret it because I do a lot of traveling, and it would be nice if I could like still speak Spanish like I could in high school. But nope.
Yeah. Thankfully, my abilities in staying up and keeping up with German are actually thanks to StreamMate, because I have a few German people that pop in every once in a while, and like I see, because like in some cases you can see the language that they speak. I'm like, oh shit, it's another German. Hello.
Nice.
Hello, we get to see him. It's so funny because like whenever you hear a very clear American accent, but you're like, wait, she's actually speaking to me in the formal, which is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can just like imagine that like the erections either go from like being like this, or from being like this to like. That's a sound effect.
It's a very accurate one. That's exactly the sound that they make.
I thought so.
Yep.
Thought so.
Yep.
Yeah, because I know I haven't ever heard that before, but I just, maybe I'm just not doing something right. Please don't sue me for fraud.
God, I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, so how have you try to pull this back to a legitimate interview real quick?
Wait, I thought this was supposed to be about sex.
It basically is.
But remember though, according to the vast majority of people, strippers are just good at sex. And being hot, and we have no personality whatsoever. If she's in law school, who gives a shit? She's just a fucking stripper, which actually is a very big problem. By the way, this is probably a good way to re-legitimize the conversation. If you ever meet someone who is a dancer, and I'm speaking to the crowd here, or the audience rather, because if I say crowd, then most likely probably going to crash into it, but. There, you got it. But real talk, if you ever speak with anyone who has ever done any form of sex work whatsoever, whether it be at OnlyFans or as a dancer or it's on camp or full service or any of the other aspects in the very broad industry, don't be a douchebag. Maybe they're doing it just for a living, and maybe they're doing it to pay for school, and maybe they're doing it because they had to. And also remember that consensual sex work is consensual, but just because I'm pro sex work doesn't mean that I'm not against sex trafficking. Sex trafficking is another problem that we need to eliminate as soon as we possibly can. But however, without harming legitimate sex workers such as myself. So
yeah, and the fastest way to push towards and fix that problem is to decriminalize sex work. Yeah. It's the number one quickest fix. I mean, it's not going to solve the problem completely. But it will help more than anything else that we could possibly do.
Because guess what? If we decriminalize it, workers aren't going to be afraid to go to the police out of fear of being arrested.
Right.
It's shocking. Shocking.
Jesus. Yeah. When I ran for city council in 2019, I had legalized cannabis and decriminalized sex work. All right, we're back. Okay. When I ran for office in 2019, I had on my flyers what I would hand out when I would go out and do canvassing. I had decriminalized cannabis and legalized cannabis and decriminalized sex work on the flyers, and those were the two that I got the most pushback on. I had 5 points; those were two of them, and I got basically the exact same explanations for both of those from everyone. The problem with cannabis was that they were afraid that kids were going to be able to get their hands on it, and sex work, they were afraid that it was going to legitimize human trafficking. And those are the two easiest things to respond to and answer. And it's misinformation, and it's a lot of misinformation, and so it's understandable mistakes, that someone would think these things because they've been taught for decades to believe.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where literally the line where I draw, what I always tell people is it consensual? If the answer is yes, allow it to happen. If the answer is no, don't allow it to happen. Same goes with weed. Now, with overall drug thing, it doesn't. You're doing it into some nuance with harder stuff crank and heroin and stuff like that. But whenever it comes to lighter drugs weed and dairy, even say cocaine and Adderall, in those cases just decriminalize them outright.
Yeah,
because you're harming a lot more people, and granted, it may just be the wealthy people in this country just being no, we're just going to keep cocaine illegal so that way we can have more of it for our parties. But yeah.
Yeah, and it was the weed one was really a great learning moment, and that was some of my favorite conversations that I got to have with voters in my neighborhood, because my response was almost always, I'd ask them if they have kids or grandkids, depending on how old they looked, and they would be like, yeah, I've got like a 12-year-old grandson. He's in middle school, yada, yada. And then I would be like, all right, so I just want you to do something. If you're comfortable having this conversation with him. And a lot of times, especially in that neighborhood, I was in Flatbush, Brooklyn, like it's really strong, like family ties in a really family centric neighborhood, which is why I loved living there. I was like, ask them which it's easier for them to get, alcohol, cigarettes, or marijuana. They're 13. They can get weed on the streets from almost anyone. They can't get cigarettes or alcohol in New York. It's impossible. It's next to impossible to get alcohol underage in New York. You need someone to buy it for you, or you need a fake ID. This is the only way you get alcohol, because every fucking place IDs, unless you're in like some hood ass liquor store or like in the Indian neighborhoods in Queens or something like that. It's the only time you're not going to get ID'd.
Yeah, and God help you if you're someone who decides to sell them individually.
Oh yeah.
Just it's like, and also let's just remember that Eric Garner, his guess he was the one who was murdered by the NYPD for selling pussies, right? Yeah, so we're talking 2015, 2014, 2015. This is a problem that isn't going away unless we really work against it. So
yeah, the idea that we can sell cigarettes in a pack of 10 like this, but I can't sell this, or I will literally get murdered. Yeah, is the most fucked up, ridiculous thing. And so many people, especially in New York, because the NYPD is one of the worst police departments in the country, and they just there's just so many fucking cases of police brutality, and you don't even hear of outside of the city. One that I actually was like doing some advocacy for and working with the victim of these there was like 4 cops in Prospect Park that raped a girl that they arrested, and their defense was that it was consensual. Like, she was in handcuffs in the back of a police van, and they didn't even try to fucking deny that they did it. It was just like, oh, she is asking for it, so it was okay. They were on the clock in uniform in the back of a police van with a handcuffed criminal in their minds for whatever the fuck reason.
Yeah,
and
and
they got away with it.
That's not an isolated case whatsoever. Not an isolated case whatsoever. I mean, I know some of my colleagues in this industry who have slept with officers in order to be able to get perks, like not be arrested, which is fucking ridiculous. I need to avoid going off on a rant right here, because it'll literally just turn into me screaming and cursing and just having no rational sense whatsoever, other than fuck this shit. But I really think that sums up my thoughts on police take advantage of women, and especially women who are just trying to make a few bucks. Yeah,
it's absolutely disgraceful.
It really is.
All cops are bastards. Let's just kind of.
Not all. I know
most.
A few good ones, but almost all.
Almost all.
And there goes all of my police friends who are watching this, just being like, Svet, get the fuck out of our bar.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, that one was one of the weirder transitions for me, because I grew up. My best friend, his dad was a cop. My mentor throughout like middle school and high school was a cop. I had a lot of respect for cops growing up, and then I became an adult and started interacting with them on a real level. And those same people who were my friends growing up, just sat back and let bullshit happen to me in their own police departments. And so, fuck that.
Yeah. And like personally, I'm still kind of going through that transition right now, as you can probably tell just based on my reaction, because, I've had some very negative experiences with police, but nothing that like is so terrible and out of pale that I'd be like, okay, well, there's no reason for this to happen. Right. But I've also had a lot of really positive experiences with police. And it's one of those things where, I hate to say it, but you either have to see something or have something happen to you. Hey, Zach, appreciate the comment, but it's decriminalized. Don't legalize it, because we don't want to be Germany. We don't want to be Germany. Granted, who wants to be Germany anyways? But anyways, But it's one of those things where it is a really tough transition to have happen whenever you yourself have really positive experiences. And that's one reason that whenever I'm discussing the whole police brutality issue with someone who is obviously pro-cop, I understand their perspective that, oh, hey, you're a middle-aged white woman who's frankly really hot and really fuckable, and the cop isn't going to be an asshole to you.
Mm-hmm. So
you've had very good experiences.
Yeah.
While myself as a 23-year-old woman, kind of a similar situation. Maybe a little bit more alty, maybe a little bit more outside the purview of what police would like to see. But still, I'm still white. I'm still a chick, and that is going to go in my favor more often than it's not going to.
Right.
And we have to understand, that perspective isn't. I have to understand that perspective is not universal. So I hesitate on saying ACAB. I understand fully where people are coming from whenever they say that. Well, not fully, because my perspective, I cannot understand where a black man is coming from whenever he says that, because I just do not share that perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes from just where you are in the country. In major cities where police forces are hundreds of thousands of people and policing millions of people, there is not going to be the same relationship with the police as my hometown where there's literally 6 cops.
Yeah. And for example, here in Tucson, I'm part of a car club, and we have our end of the month car meets every month in Oro Valley. And the Cars and Coffee we have in Marana. Guess what? The cops are always there, and it's not in the super edgy young people car meet where everyone's doing burnouts and all that. It's very much a boomer car meet.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I love going there, but it's very much we support our law enforcement and all this other stuff, and relatively positive experiences there.
Mm-hmm.
But on South Tucson, guarantee that would not happen.
Right.
Guarantee it, because South Tucson is South Tucson. This is a really rich suburb area where I drive around in my Civic that has that the muffler just fell off today. I'll just be driving around the really rich areas and piss people off because it's so loud and the rear bumper is zip tied on. Actually, the zip tie broke off, so I need to get it. But it's. Yeah,
been there.
Have
had a duct tape bumper before.
Yeah, it's a fun time, especially whenever you love that car more than you do your GTI. And whenever people which car would you rather have, I'd rather have the one with an exhaust manifold leak and is 21 years old and has a rusted out muffler, because it's that car got me through high school. Literally got me through high school. So
right. There's some sentimental value there. I get the feeling you're that's just an instinctive hand gesture at this point.
Set dildo down.
So man,
also,
I fucked myself up that one.
For everyone wondering why I have all my sex toys around me right now, this is where I came from. So whenever I work, I am in this exact chair. So that's why I have all my shit around me right here.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Same. This is where I.
So what you're saying is that's where all your the dragon dildos are at, that you just haven't told anyone about.
I do like dragons. They are fun.
Dragons are really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Very enjoyable. However, you have to work your way up to them. I should go look at the next one I should buy.
Oh my gosh!
I like how they're actually bad dragon. I always forget that it's bad dragon, and I just always say dragon dildos, but it's nope, they're actually bad dragons. So yeah,
come on, you gotta get, if you're gonna vie for a sponsorship, you gotta get the name right.
Oh my god, what the fuck is this one? Sorry. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna close that tab out because I'm going to distract myself way too much. I feel like
Joe Rogan ain't got nothing on this show. This is a much better
really
experience.
Doesn't. Although I will say though, he had Alex Jones though, and those two podcasts were very interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But we don't want good old AJ on this show because it actually, well, granted, I'm here, so it's
Dude.
like all of its integrity is probably just like gone. But like,
I would
actually-
have Alex Jones on my show in a fucking heartbeat.
oh, same,
I would
objectively
love to
speaking.
talk to him.
So
Hell yeah.
yeah. So I must confess that the gay bomb rant is one of my favorite videos of all time, and just because of that, I just want to have a chat with him. Like,
Yeah.
you know, oh, wait, what's on this paper right here? Here. Just like when he was like, I like to put chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs in. Ow! Fuck.
Oh my god, are you okay?
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself on cam.
Not being paid to, so why the fuck would I?
Right. I'm sure that could bring in some serious money.
I wouldn't want that.
I'm sure
Like,
people.
let's not end up on the dark web as a red room. Which, by the way, if any of you fucks ever go on the deep web and you see like anything like for Hitman services or anything like that, that's a federal honeypot. And also, red rooms are just a scam because it's literally not possible for the Tor browser to be able to support something like that. And also, the Mariana's web is bullshit. All that, like, yeah. And also, don't forget, the VPNs are condoms for your computer. Make sure you wear a condom for yourself as well whenever you're hitting it.
True that.
And also normalize STI testing before hookups. But anyways, you know. But,
With you on that one too. So tell me about why you chose to study law.
So actually, originally back when I was little, I wanted to be a politician. So my overall like perspective on careers is kind of interesting. When I was little, I wanted to be a meteorologist. Then it was, I want to do like some other bullshit. Then I wanted to be a politician because, you know, like the 2008 election, which we're not going to discuss because, you know, a certain family unit of mine was very anti-Obama, which in a very not okay way. And then I saw the bumper sticker and I'm like, oh, hey, or the Libertarian sticker that was ironically put on the government traffic. It was a traffic signal, I believe. I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, I like them. I want to be with them. And then, so that lasted for a little bit. And I was like, I want to be an astronomer. Figured out I was bad at math. So then I decided to go back to the politician thing. And then I was like, wait, if I'm a lawyer, though, I can do the politician thing later. But I can also like do stuff like on a small level and be able to make change there. And then I got a internship back in high school, actually, at a law firm in Edwardsville, Illinois, where I worked off and on for roughly 5 or so years. It was a criminal defense firm, saw some really fucked up shit. Can't discuss it, unfortunately, because of confidentiality issues, but yeah. And so that really solidified my law school track, which finished undergrad, got accepted to the University of Arizona Law School, which I'm open about on my shit, so it's like, you know, fuck it. And I'm going to be starting my 2 year here in about, actually 2 months to the day.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thanks. It's something, to say the least. So although I must admit, though, it is a very interesting being the stripper in law school. It is an interesting vibe, to say the least. But it's a good school, and you know, I'm happy to be a Wildcat.
That's awesome. I mean, I can't help but just like assume that's a High School Musical reference and not legit. I feel like you're joking, but that's okay.
Well, actually, no, because Arizona, the mascot's a Wildcat. So.
I believe you. I'm just gonna pretend it's a High School Musical reference because I'm still 12.
That's all right. I won't. I will reach my ethical belief of destroying people's delusions by allowing you to simply believe that. So. I mean, as long as we can agree that that One Direction sucks, we're good.
Yes.
All right. Cool. We're good.
Yep. Yeah. I was just a little bit too old for that one. I was like, I was already starting to hate like pop music and boy bands by the time they came around, and I was like, y'all are trash. They have a couple of songs that are kind of a bop, and I used to listen to because like they just had fun beats and shit. But no, One Direction sucks. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys all the way.
I just realized my finger's bleeding.
Oh shit.
Shit. All right, we're just not gonna worry about that. I've had worse.
Oh God. Well, that's
wait a second. I need let me just grab some vodka too. I'm gonna to sanitize this real quick, and then we'll be good to go.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I popped your
Sorry,
endorsement cherry, and you popped my injury on the show cherry. That's
Hey,
a first.
You're welcome. Yeah, and this has been a very eventful podcast. And the fact that I was doing it while trying to make fun of Alex Jones just makes it that much better. It makes me actually believe that it is a conspiracy by the NWO.
It's gotta be
from the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah. You started to speak truth, and the universe chastised you for it.
Yes, that's very true. I mean, I'm very fortunate that this unloaded pistol in front of me didn't decide to go on a mass shooting rampage as a result.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, according to the NPCs, people don't kill people. Guns on their own, autonomously, and that are sentient beings, and therefore they can kill people. Mm-hmm. So, yeah,
it's got to be the case. Couldn't be a people issue.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not.
All right. Well, tell people how they can. You pitch the caucus and the party. Tell people how they can find you and help you out with what you're doing. And
can I promote sex work services on here? Because I know we're on YouTube. So, all right, cool. Yeah, so,
I think. I don't know. I don't read the YouTube terms of agreement.
Go to my Twitter page, Svetlana97 or whatever the fuck it is. Svetlana.
It's scrolling across the bottom.
You can see it right then and there. Yeah, so go ahead and go to that. Click on all my links thing that I have there posted, and I have OnlyFans. I'm on various online hot girl shit platforms, and I'll be starting to appear back in clubs again, starting in August, both out here in Arizona, back in Missouri and Illinois. And also, I do have an Amazon wish list as well. So if you guys really love me, you'll find me there. So,
all right, guys, go check out all that. Go get involved in the caucus. If you're in Arizona, join the party. You guys have some awesome people out there. Svetlana, thanks so much for coming on. This was great.
Thank you so much for having me. I got to be honest, for a first podcast appearance, I don't think I did too bad. So, and it was a hell of a fun time. So
it was great. You were
It's
great.
almost like I'm a living shit post.
It's a great way to live life.
It really is.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. We will be back here next week with more fighting. But until then, keep up the fight.
We haven't had a fight yet.
Hey fighters, thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and support the fight by going to linktree/Fight for Liberty.